What up? Wade here. Welcome back to the Wade Alter Show. So today I want to switch it up on you for a little bit. Get into some updates. I'm going to talk about, some learning lessons that I've had over the last few months, what's in store moving ahead, and also a couple cool projects that I think you should really be excited about. So if you're thinking, he's just going to talk about himself. No, I'm going to get into a bunch of little lessons you can learn, a bunch of opportunities that you can take. But hopefully for some of you that are just like, hey, what's Wade up to? I'd like to get into that as well, because I feel that the podcast medium, it's a little different when I'm doing video, especially the vlogs. I can really kind of show what I'm up to. Even me, I've grown my hair out a bit because it's like that LA lifestyle, I guess. But I feel that with the podcast, I just don't have that visual connection. And so I wanted to do an update, especially, I've been doing this consistently for probably 4 or 5 months now, getting it back, and we're finally getting some good numbers back on track to where we used to be with the podcast. Other things in the business, if you know anything about my vision, if you've heard me talk about the Man Operating System, every single morning, I visualize where I want to be 10 years from now. And that vision for me is I'm up on stage and I'm looking out. I can see it through my own eyes. It's larger than life. And I look down at these people that I've inspired, that have impacted them on some level in every area. I've helped them with their dating life. I've helped them build a relationship. Maybe they're there with their spouse. I can see that. I can see other guys that I helped them with their business, or both, or even inspired them in the gym, inspired their inner game, self-development, self-esteem, and seeing these people that I've been working with, we're there for a week, and the intimacy of it, and those inside jokes that go along with it. If you've ever been to a seminar that's lasted more than 3 or 4 days, you've noticed how all of a sudden you just start seeing the same faces. Maybe you've done an exercise or two with them, and it just leads to this really sort of family, cultish vibe in a good way, the good form of a cult. And so that's really what I'm trying to create a family, create a crew. And so for me, on that path, on that journey, was always at some point I had to jump in the deep end to start doing seminars. And I've experienced them a lot. I've done seminars in over 40 countries, but it wasn't me. It wasn't my business. It wasn't my event. And so I've decided finally, I was like, 2018 is the year that I'm taking that first leap into doing seminars. And I'm really excited because I recently launched, I'm calling it the Chosen 20 Retreat. And this is something I've had in the works for a while, but I had to wait till I got out to LA just because it's a destination city here to where people want to come. They're like, I want to see some palm trees. I want to hit the beach. I want to go check out the Hollywood Walk of Fame and things like that. But then also, if there's a seminar attached to it, it makes it easier to get people in. And so what I decided to do was, really to dip my toes into this, really pop my cherry and get started, is work with my closest clients. So that's why I'm calling it the Chosen 20 Retreat. And what it is for anyone that's inside of my Chosen 20. So I usually have about 15 to 18 guys. Some of them are off in Australia. A lot of them are in Europe too. So I don't know how many people currently are going to show up. It's over 10 right now. But if it is something that you'd be interested in, there might be 1 or 2 spots left by the time you reach out to me. But to do it, you have to be a member. You can't just come to the retreat. This is an intimate thing. What I'm trying to do is put faces to the names that they see in the Facebook group. And they're kind of already like, holding each other accountable. But it's just a different thing when you've met that person and you've hung out at the beach and you've gone to dinner and you've done a hike together. You're going to be invested in that other person's success. And so really harnessing that mastermind effect. We're going to do, hot seats where everyone gets up in the front and you have 10, 15 people breaking down your business. So I can't tell you how excited I am because this is really a big leap towards me reaching my vision. And then from there, moving towards doing seminars, maybe quarterly, ultimately monthly. I do have a vision for myself of I heard Tony Robbins at one point in his career, he did like 300 seminars in a year. And I'm like, man, your chops get so good at that point. You're going to be so good at speaking. And I really love being up on stage. And I wish I had more opportunities to really refine that skill set. And so I'm taking it in my own hands and it's going to happen. But first, if you want to have it happen now, that's the way you can join. Another effort that I'm taking to really, like I said, refine that public speaking. Like I said, I've been public speaking for 10 years, but it's just like the path to mastery, you got to be doing it nonstop. And so I'm actually going to start doing a bunch of live webinars. And so there's going to be various topics. I'll mention them on some of the podcasts, things like that. And really, this is just for me to really, again, refine the process, dial in even more specifically what you, everyone in the audience wants, what questions you want answered, and making sure there's a Q&A portion at the end to really get that feedback. Because like I said, the podcast, I love it. It's streamlined, it's automated. At this point, I just turn on the microphone, upload it, and magically it just appears online and it's promoted everywhere. I don't even know how it happens at this point. But hey, actually, it's a team of people that I've set up and have the systems in place and all those things. They're listening right now. Thank you guys. for all the hard work that you do. But like I said, I don't get as much feedback. And so I think the webinars are going to be a great way. I'm really looking forward to that. It really is something that I haven't done much. And again, they're going to be live. This is not some sort of automated webinar, internet marketing tactic here. It's again, me moving towards the vision that I want for Weight Alters Consulting. Another aspect of the business that is really growing is just the team. And so at this point, I have interns, I have social media managers, I have Facebook ad managers, I have somebody that's doing the podcast editing. I'm just hired an executive assistant who is starting off part-time, going to be full-time pretty soon here. And so there's just the army of Weight Alters Consulting is growing, and we're getting to the point so we can take over the world and build the empire. But what I think will be great for you listening in, assuming that you are an aspiring entrepreneur or an entrepreneur that's really wanting to grow your business, so much as you hit the higher levels, once you start hitting multiples of six figures, it's like if you want to hit that seven-figure mark, it really comes down to you need to have a team. You can't do it all on your own, and you need to figure out how to delegate and automate effectively. And it's really been interesting, the struggle. I see it going on in my own head. Like a couple days ago, I was just kind of cleaning the place up a little bit, and I have these sort of like, all of a sudden I get hot flashes now. Whenever I do things I know I shouldn't be doing, I'm kind of like, but it's kind of fun for me. There's this OCD thing that I actually enjoy, cleaning up things, or like, putting the curtains up in my office or something like that. But I also know that time, that 15 minutes that I'm doing that, I should probably be writing an email, or I should be recording another podcast or something like this, because there's such a higher leverage thing. And so it's trying to find that balance of, okay, for me, like I decided cooking, I got that Blue Apron, I got the recipe right there. I should get that little Blue Apron promo thing. Damn, this would be a good affiliate moment right now. But for me, I just love it because all of a sudden I'm like, boom, I can do this. It's fun. It's like a Zen act for me. Versus me cleaning the counters afterwards, that's probably something that I should delegate to my girlfriend. No, just kidding, not my girlfriend. But I've set up a housekeeper and things like that because these are just not things that I should be doing. My time is better spent. You hear things like Elon Musk or Eben Pagan's a great example, where he won't even take the change out of his car because for him to sit there and grab the change, he should just get out of the car and be doing other things. He should just be getting out of the car and reading, or just thinking deep thoughts, walking around and having those sort of visionary thoughts, or getting back into the studio and recording a great video or an audio. And I think especially because there's so many people listening in that either have a day job and the side hustle, and they're trying to figure out how to manage both. But we all have those work-life balance issues of thinking, okay, how can I get to the gym as well as I didn't have a hobby for the longest time. I'm just recently starting to surf, and I want to get into kite surfing and actually flying. After going to Canada and doing the fly-in thing on the small little boat, I'm like, I need to get back into flying. I got my pilot's license. It's been so long. But even to think about having hobbies, it's something, building the business, there's just no time for that at all. And so I really want to find guests that have cracked the code there. And I really want to create podcasts myself that are related, tactically as well, but also the inner game issues of, having too much sympathy and being afraid to ask someone to do the dishes or clean up after you, or how to frame certain job responsibilities so that the person you hire is actually excited and they want to do it and they have this vision of where you're taking the company and they want to empower you. They want to enable you so you can grow it as much as possible so that it fulfills their purpose as well. And a lot of these things are pretty fresh for me, so I think it's going to be fun to talk about, but I kind of want to clarify them and kind of distill it down from what I've talked about with other clients as well before I start putting those out. That's not for today. Today is just the updates. And then just to get a little bit personal, I've had a couple interesting things happen since I've moved to Santa Monica. I think one of the biggest ones, inspired by also reading the book Bold, is that you are so much a product of your environment. And it's been amazing for me just to see my own sort of psychology shift and change by moving here and then forcing myself to network as much as possible. I always have the rule of if you're trying to build a social circle and network, just never say no. Always say yes to everything. So people are like, hey, I'm getting this coffee on the other side of the city. Can you do it at 3 p.m.? Okay, cool. I'm going to move all my calendar around to go meet these people. Oh yeah, hey, what are you doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday? And oh my God, I'm going out 3 nights in a row, which I normally wouldn't do. I haven't done that in years pretty much, but I'm never going to say no. I'm always going to say yes to be around these successful people. Now, of course, it's a slippery slope of saying, okay, am I just trying to compete or am I trying to, worry about what other people think of me? But the other side of it is just that's what happens when it's the average of your 5 closest friends and the mastermind effect. If I'm talking to this guy over here and he exited some company at like over $100 million, and he's only 34 years old, and Now I'm already 36. And this guy over here is making 700 grand and he started 2 years ago. And this guy over here has 25 employees. Even though they're interacting with me as I'm an equal, something in that subconscious goes, dude, you should probably be stepping it up a little bit. And like I said, it's a slippery slope. And for me, I always want to put the lifestyle first. But a big part of the lifestyle, that is kind of my purpose in a way. And so I would truly actually say the purpose is what's first. And a big part of my purpose is I always ask myself, what did I want to do after I created my fortune? And really what it was is almost like the same thing, but just do it on a higher level. And it really came down to, I want to impact as many people as possible. And you can't do that, just being a one-on-one coach or something like that. You can't do that playing, in the small world without a team there to help you out. Just the aspect of like group flow and creating things that you could never create on your own, and just enabling that ability to your blowhorn, the impact that you're putting out there, the influence that you want to create. When you have people behind you, you can find specialists that are better than you in each of these areas and really create the impact that you want. And again, it's just so amazing for me to think about if I was still in Chicago, I had a lot of entrepreneurial friends, but it wasn't specifically in this, business model. But also on top of that, it wasn't to this magnitude. There's always another level. It's crazy to think, like, I see a picture of Dan Bilzerian, and I'm like, man, he's only 5 miles away from me somewhere in this city. Or Elon Musk, or Peter Diamandis, or so many of these crazy, crazy successful people are right in my neighborhood. And so if you're thinking, okay, cool, like things are going well, when you jump into a bigger pond, it definitely creates that sense of urgency for you to go, okay, time to step it up a notch. And so I really want to inspire you to think, okay, where am I settling? Even back when I was the dating coach and I was like, okay, guys are like, how do I get more girls when I live in Iowa? And I remember one of my colleagues was like, you move. That's how you get more attractive women. You got to move to a bigger city. For me, it was moving from Milwaukee to Chicago. A lot of guys is like, go to Vegas and get comfortable seeing these beautiful women there. And if you can do that, and then they kind of disappear every day because people are just traveling and coming in. Then wherever you end up, you're just going to feel so much more comfortable. You're squeezing this sort of dried up, gross, old fruit if you're in not the best location, not able, and like I said, I thought, oh, well, I can make these friends virtually and things like that. And then people say, oh, you moved to California. What about the taxes? The opportunities here, just the psychological shift, it more than makes up for any sort of, increase in my tax burden. And you know what? I see the same thing when it comes to finding people to have on the podcast, is that it always, at the end of the day, you know what you need to do. And it's where that fear is. And so when I think about having someone on, I'm like, oh man, this person, am I cool enough? Is my business successful enough? Is my podcast got enough listeners and downloads that this person would want to come on? That's the person that I know I need to reach out to. And even if I don't hear back from them the first time, it's just starting that relationship. It's starting the momentum building. It's the same thing when I came to move to California. I was like, oh, should I really do this? Things are going to be more expensive. Tax is going to be higher. There's all these successful people there. Because that fear was there, that's the path to growth. Fear always is a direct path to the fastest way to get you to where you want to go. So instead of running away from it, instead of pretending it's not there, lean into that. Look at that as your compass. Take action. And as always, enjoy.